The second emperor of the Jin Dynasty, Sima Zhong, was one of the most unusual emperors in Chinese history. And what made him unusual? From a young age, he was known to be slow. He was not good with words, and he had almost no sense of how to govern. This a famous story left behind in the history books. One year, there was a famine, and people had no food to eat. Someone brought this news to him. He thought about it for a moment and asked, "If there is no food, why not just eat meat at a party?" This question became a joke that lasted through history. But there's a thing. There was a man who became emperor. Sima Yan was not blind to this. He knew his son was not capable enough. Under the rules of succession, the eldest son inheriting the throne was a tradition, and not something you changed lightly. But Sima Yan was a founding emperor. He had enough authority to break that tradition, if he truly wanted to. The thing is, replacing the crown prince was never just a father's judgment of his son. It touched the interests of the entire court. The moment a change was announced, all the relationships that had formed around Sima Zhong would have to be rebuilt. Those who supported the crown prince, those who opposed him, those sitting in the middle, everyone would have to pick a new side. No emperor would willingly create that kind of disruption. And on top of that, Sima Yan had another reason to hold back. His grandson, Sima Zhong's son, Sima Yu, had shown remarkable intelligence from a very young age. People said he reminded them of Sima Yan himself when he was young. Officials had said to his face that his child would become something great. Sima Yan heard this and was pleased. Perhaps from that moment on, he began to think to himself, "It does not matter if my son falls short, as long as my grandson is clever enough." So Sima Yan never fully gave up on Sima Zhong, but he never fully fell at either. Instead, he once prepared a set of questions, asking Sima Zhong to answer them on his own. The questions covered governance and state affairs to see how much his son truly understood. It was meant to be a real test, but the news leaked out ahead of time. Emperor was young, and people prepared all the answers for Sima Zhong. When Sima Yan read the answers, he nodded. "Not bad. The boy is not bad." And just like that, the idea of replacing the crown prince was put aside. Why did Emperor Yan do this? It's not hard to understand. Sima Zhong was her own son. If her son became an emperor, she would become emperor's daughter, and the young family would keep its position. She was simply finding a way to protect her son. And the officials at the court who knew the truth chose silence as well. To openly oppose the crown prince meant offending the emperors, the crown prince supporters, and the emperor himself all at once. The risk was too high, the chance too low. So, what needed to be said was never said, and what needed to change never changed. This kind of thing happened more than once in Chinese history. Every time a dynasty began to fall and you look back, It was really one big problem that appeared overnight. It was usually much earlier, one person after another who knew the truth and chose not to speak. And so, Sima Zhong, step by step, made his way to the throne. Not because anyone truly believed in him, but because every person who could have changed things, in the end, chose to just let it go. Sima Zhong raised the throne without a single real debate and without anyone standing up to argue against it. It simply happened because no one felt it was their responsibility to stop it. Sima Yan chose to avoid trouble. Empress Yang chose her son. The officials chose to protect themselves. Every single one of them made the choice that was the best for themselves. And so the man at least suited to be emperor became emperor, as if it was the most natural thing in the world. Sima Zhong reigned for 16 years. During that time, the War of the Eight Princes broke out, the north fell into chaos, and the emperor began to collapse. In later history books, filled many pages trying to explain why. But if you trace it back to where it all began, you will find no grand conspirators, no villains pulling the strings. What you find is Sima Yan settling for what he could live with. Empress Yang protecting her son, and a court full of officials who each did their own calculation and said nothing. Everyone had their reasons. Put together, they made Sima Zhong emperor. And then history turned in a different direction.